Dr. Naidoo, and I'm currently the Chief Executive Officer at Smart Exchange. I started my education in a small town called Portchepston. I did all of my schooling in that little town on the south coast, and thereafter I went to university to study to become an educator. So I specialized in mathematics. So I taught mathematics up to metric level, and thereafter I did my other qualifications in economics and in GIS and in trade and investments and in those kind of portfolios as well. So that's it from an educational perspective, and all of my tertiary education was done in Durban and also via correspondence through UNISA. Well, subsequent to teaching, in parallel, I was fortunate to be a politician during the transition government phase. One is the Ugu District Council, and one is the Portchepston Transitional Council, and I served as the deputy chair of those councils, and it was an exciting journey. And then in 1999, of course, in my education career, I was suddenly moving up the ranks from a level 1 teacher to a deputy principal, and then to the head of GIS in terms of information management systems in the Department of Education, Southern Region. I was the chief director at that organization. And then with my political involvement, I was then offered a job at the Durban Chamber of Commerce and Industry in 1999 to become the head of economics, policy, and advocacy. So in 1999, I relocated to Durban. And after serving 5 years in that portfolio, I was then offered the position as the COO of the KwaZulu-Natal Trade and Investment. So KZN Trade and Investment, I served a stint there. And thereafter, I was given this interesting appointment by the Austrian company called Tollink to head the tolling portfolio and become the director for Sub-Saharan Africa. So that was a very interesting portfolio that I tremendously enjoyed. And of course, doing a lot of traveling into Africa and into Austria, reporting to the head office in Graz. And so it was a pleasure to come back home and to head Smart Exchange in 2011. And since then, I've always been here at Smart Exchange as its chief executive officer. I think my purpose in my current position is to really be offering an Ubuntu solution to startups, where it's caring for them, molding them so that they become sustainable. And it's an excitement where you see growth in a company and suddenly we realize we're contributing to economic growth and more jobs within these communities. And I think that's the rewarding part of it. The other exciting part is working with young people with innovations. It's amazing how those minds are ticking and how you could direct those minds into some amazing solutions with the passion and drive from these young individuals. So that spurs me on, working with these young, bright individuals that want to impact positively on the quality of life of people. Well, the one accomplishment that makes me the proudest is it's actually multifaceted. The first one was in 2016 when the then Minister of Science and Innovation, Dr. Naledi Pandor, presented me with the Innovation Award for the kind of innovation work that we did at Smart Exchange. So that was one of the highlights. Yeah. And then it filtered through in 2019, where we got the Global ITU Award, the division of the United Nations. They presented Smart Exchange with the award of building a world-class ecosystem. And our modeling was on looking at incubation in different economies. So we looked at the metro economy with the Durban office. Then we developed a small town incubator in Port Shepstone, so we understood incubation in a small town. Then we developed the KwaMashu digital hub, so that gave us an insight into the township economy. And then we went on to a rural community in Coxted, Bongweni. So we understand how rural incubation works. And our fifth project is on commercializing research material linked to innovation. So that replication model won us this prestigious ITU Global Award in terms of building up this innovation and incubation ecosystem. So that would be in the highlight in my career at Smart Exchange. That journey is always surrounded by top-class support teams. And I think without the support of my amazing staff, these awards could never been achieved. We've won many awards along the journey, but I thought I should just focus on those two highlight awards and emphasizing the point that it is never an individual that wins the award. It's the efforts of a collective. And I'm proud to be just one part of that collective at Smart Exchange. The best advice I received, I think it emanates from both my family background and my religious teachings as well. It's about service to humanity and service to communities. And the current job that I am in as the Chief Executive Officer, that's exactly what it's about. It's about serving startup companies that want to do better, that want to grow. And if you have that selfless view about serving communities, and when you see the end result and the rewards, it's gratifying. But equally, you do that level of job without an expectation of receiving a pat on your back. You must be ready for not receiving a pat on your back in this journey that you've chosen. So it's a journey about serving a constituency, and you must have the best fit and the chemistry to do these kind of jobs, you know. And so I enjoy it. And so the advice that I've been given is serve communities. And if you pull that in through your purpose for life, in your vocation, it can be extremely rewarding. And I'm excited to be part of a program that can see the impactful outcomes and results, and that's your reward and gratification. It's like working with a school child, and at the end in the metric year, you see them passing. That's your reward. And of course, the cherry on the top is to see them passing with distinction. It's not a necessity, but it's a nice to have. Get them to pass the metric examination. The biggest challenge I face is with some startup companies not having a good ethical value system linked to corporate governance. It's unfortunate that you have some of those entities, and it becomes quite a nasty process where ultimately legal has to get involved, etc. And when these individuals are forced to exit your programs, they become negative elements in society against the organization that helped them to grow. Yeah. So that's quite a bitter pill. They'll even make statements in the media anti an organization without presenting empirical evidence against it. But fortunately for Smart Exchange, we've got all our records extremely well kept. So we can defend any of that malicious intentions by a handful of these negative elements within the ecosystem. But it is unfortunate that they will go to public platforms and kind of make unsavory announcements. And being professional, you wouldn't want to challenge those things in public platforms, but you would make a general diplomatic comment about that's not the status quo in terms of what transpired. And you would want to settle these negativities outside of public forums. So that's one of those challenges. But in developing the way forward, we always have an open door policy where we invite people to come in and sort out your differences, so that at the end of the day, one must be happy with a resolution reached. And we're fortunate that we've got records on resolutions. We are fortunate that we've got records on outstanding debts and as to what really transpired in each case study. So that's the unfortunate situation. It's a reality, but I think we must be professional in the manner in which we respond to these challenges. But as I say, it's just a handful. You can count them on your fingertips, not more than 5 cases in the ocean of over 600 startups that we've supported to date. I keep my team motivated in various ways. I think that the first way is to lead by example, where as the chief executive officer, you can be part of a team setting up the room with them. It's these simple things. There is no task that the CEO should not be allowed to do. From the simple things as picking up a piece of paper within the offices of the corridors in which you walk, that's leading by example. And when you do those simple things, the ripple effect goes along the entire staff and the institution as well. It's always great to recognize hard work. And we do that via performance appraisals. And I'm proud to announce that every year, my team does exceptionally well in terms of receiving a good performance appraisal together with a fair monetary value compensation at the same time. So it's not just motivation by words, it's also motivation in terms of a financial reward at the same time. And I think the other part on motivation and getting the team out there is to give them opportunities. Most of my team, by the way, were interns that were groomed and developed by us and have grown along the career pathing. We are a reasonably flat structure, but the kind of rewards that my team get, I'm convinced is motivation enough for them to really remain within the small organization. And one of the indicators in terms of the level of satisfaction to me would be the low staff turnover. I think that's a great indicator to me. My main source of inspiration comes from my religious teachings about serving mankind and doing good. But as humans, we slip along the way, but as long as you have that motto of doing good, your intention is good. And if you're guided by that principle of having a good intention, though some may misconstrue it in 1 or 2 instances as not being good, that's fine. That should motivate you endlessly just to continue to reach greater levels of excellence. So that keeps me going. And of course, as I said, if you link that up with working with young people, You couldn't get a better combination or better chemistry in terms of keeping you going every day. Well, our vision for Smart Exchange within the next 5 years, and hopefully for all businesses throughout South Africa, not only KZN, is to focus on how can our businesses impact positively on the 7 Sustainable Development Goals of the United Nations. So being successful in business is not necessarily having an exciting bottom line in terms of excessive profits. We need to leave legacy statements in terms of what have we done to leave this planet a better place for generations to come. My motto and encouragement to all of the startups is a 3-faceted motto. Number 1, work hard. Number 2, faith in God. And number 3, a little bit of luck. If we have those 3 components, hard work, faith in God, and a little bit of luck, I think we've got the best formula for a success story. Thank you.